Welcome back to the Dialing for Dollars podcast, where we talk about life insurance, sales, and everything that happens between the first dial and the death benefit. I'm Corey Mitchell, and each week I sit down with fellow agents, top performers, entrepreneurs, and industry leaders to help unpack what actually works to help new agents win faster. Today, we are joined by Eric Andersen. Eric recently joined Empower Life Group as a new agent, and he's relatively new to the industry. And my thought with having him on is that, the show is geared toward having new agents, helping new agents win faster. And sometimes you lose perspective after you get going for a while. I just wanted to have Eric on, talk about what he's going through as a newer agent and see if we can, you know, unlock the code to winning faster. So Eric, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Corey. I appreciate it.
Yeah, awesome. So tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you get into life insurance? How did you end up at Empower Life Group? Kind of just the backstory. You don't
Yeah.
have to name names, but we'll get
So
into the
it's a
bodies of there
long
later.
story short, and we could be here for days, but the long story short is last August 20th, I had a kidney transplant. So
Oh,
I was always working outside and doing things, so I'm kind of limited now. And then I wanted to find some type of at-home job, sales related. So I started looking into life insurance, and it seemed life insurance was one of the best sales opportunities out there. So I started inquiring about that, and then one of my good friends worked with the company. Won't name names, but he was doing really good there, and so I gave it a shot, and it didn't pan out for me. Like we were talking earlier, I have two young kids and a wife, and they just wanted us working all day and all night, and it wasn't sustainable for me at the time. Also, too, I wanted to have more control in being able to buy my leads than just get the leads that they were providing me because there just wasn't any action there whatsoever
sure.
for me. But yeah, that's kind of how I got into it. I've been in sales for the last 15 years, born and raised in New York, came out to Texas about 8 years ago. And yeah, working from home is a whole new deal for me. It's a lot to get used to. I love it, but it's for me, it's kind of finding a balance of getting out and going to the gym or just taking my dog for a walk, just having some type of structure throughout the day rather than just being on the screen all day long, which is something I'm figuring out as I'm going.
Yeah, that
And
has
just,
been one
just
of the
trying to,
biggest adjustments to figure out is how to not just sit in the chair and focus on this entirely because it takes so much away from the rest of your life, family,
yeah,
health, etc.
for sure. Yeah, and I'm slowly realizing that I kind of go like way too far with things. Like if I'm studying, I'll study all day long, which is kind of like it doesn't work the way it's supposed to that way.
Hmm.
So I'm learning to kind of take some little breaks here and there just to absorb it more rather than just go extremely hard on it because it kind of spinning my wheels, I feel like at that point.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much benefit in. I'm drawing a blank on the name of it. That there's a method to studying and working where you're on for 25 minutes and you take a 5 minute break. You're on for 25 minutes, you take a 5 minute break. And from a health perspective, keeping your body functioning, you should be getting up and moving and drinking a little bit of water and keeping the other
It's,
things top of mind and regular as opposed to just sitting in the chair and focusing on a phone call. Now, if you're on a phone call for an hour, it's a different story. But so were the leads you were getting there, were they just recycled leads or age leads, or were they new leads that just, I mean, or was your phone not working so you could get people on the phone,
no,
or was it, what was the, what did that look like?
yeah, yeah. So it was you're pretty much at the mercy, and it does work, but I don't know. I don't want to say too much because it's if you don't have anything good to say, you shouldn't say anything at all, right? But it just I wasn't in control of it at all. So,
Yeah.
there was about 3 weeks that went by, and like I was saying, I got one or two people on the phone. Most of my numbers were blocked, and I tried to get new leads because usually we swap them out, but they want us calling them like 60 times before we swap them out.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, at the minimum, which
Yeah.
you know, um, I don't know. It just it wasn't the vehicle for me at the time,
Sure.
and so I heard about Sniper. A good friend of mine, Jordan, that works here. He just raved about the place. He's like, as far as life insurance goes, this is the place to be. We have some of the best systems in place. Between Caden and Matt and everyone else here. it's you know, he said you can't compare it to any other IMO. So,
Yeah.
it's something that I looked into, and I was like, all right, let's give this a go, man.
Yeah.
Slow, we'll get into it, but yeah, I'm slowly realizing that I need to have something better in place to make this sustainable. I think we talked about that earlier. It's kind of why I took a step back the last week or two, is to get things in order, because I was a little thrown off with that. I'm trying to stay in. I'm going to stay in this game long term, but I'm really trying to figure out how am I going to put this together to make that happen, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. And honestly, talking about other IMOs, every IMO has pros and cons, and everybody's going to be a fit someplace. So I don't think there's anything wrong with saying that you were in a free lead program and it wasn't the fit for you because of this, that, and the other thing. But maybe were they things that maybe you just didn't know what you didn't know, and you were still new to the industry, or was it just a cultural fit, or what do you think was the difference between there
Yeah,
and
it
coming
was
over here?
definitely because I was new for sure. And also just coming off of a traumatic experience as well, just
Yeah.
getting used to like medications and things like that. I've leveled out with all of that now, and it was a learning curve over there. It's
Yeah.
just, working from in the hours of 8, 9, 10 o'clock. Those were the very few hours that I got to spend some time with my kids.
Yeah.
And as the weeks went on, there was just a big distance between my children and my family.
Hmm.
And I wasn't moving the needle whatsoever. And I just felt like I wasn't getting the help that I needed. I take a lot of responsibility myself. I'm completely new, green to the whole situation.
Hmm.
So I have a lot to learn. And it just didn't feel like it was the right place at the right time.
Yeah.
I
No,
feel
when
the
you're
systems
new,
that are in place here are absolutely, like, by far incredible. People reaching out to me all the time, just checking in, which is like, it's, you don't feel like a number with this company whatsoever.
yeah, I mean, it's easy to kind of fall through the cracks. I've talked to a few other agents who just situationally kind of fell through the cracks a little bit, but it's easy to get overwhelmed because you're a new agent. You don't know what you don't know, and you're trying to figure it out day by day, and you're not sure what questions to even ask. You don't have access to somebody who does regularly to just ask questions to. Are you getting in Zoom rooms when you dial or when you're calling throughout the day, or
Yeah,
what's
so
the?
that's the whole thing. You got to show up for this thing. People
Yeah,
can help you all they want, but you got to show up to these Zooms. You have to show up to it all. You have to be in with the people that are doing it. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to do that the last week and a half,
yeah,
but I'm trying to get things in order. But, with you saying that, yes, when I first came here, I'm trying to get on as many Zooms as I can. If anything, I think I struggled with keeping my dial times. I would
yeah.
see like a cool Zoom pop up, and I'm like, oh, that's interesting. And I'm just like all over the place. And at the end of the day, I'm like, what the hell did I do today here? I felt like I
It,
didn't get anywhere because I was just dipping my toes in everything.
Yeah, I tell you, if I could be a professional learner and just go to training classes all day, I would. I love the interaction. I love the new information. I love the different perspectives, but it doesn't pay for shit. I got to be
No,
on the phones, taking calls or making calls. Are you
yeah.
doing outbound dials primarily, or
Yeah,
what's
so
your
my
more
time
predominant?
blocks, I was at 8 to 11 and 4 to 8 or 5 to 8,
Uh-huh.
depending on the day there. But yeah, I got to do a way better job on like really setting up healthy boundaries so like nothing gets in the way. And there's nothing wrong with the Zooms or anything, but my ADD brain just is like all over the place and
Yeah,
wants to be in everything. A confused mind doesn't get anywhere type of a situation.
yeah.
And
I love.
yeah.
And we had that unhinged dial room with Empower and Sniper, and it's fun to be in there. It's really interactive. There's all kinds of chaos, and people are unmuted talking on phones, but it's overload, and I can get caught sitting and watching and talking and chatting, and pretty soon, like, well, it's been 2 hours. I haven't made a phone call, or I haven't taken a call. Like that's so sometimes you just got to check yourself out, right, or get into a different quiet room with someone else. I mean, there's no shortage of places to go for sure.
Yeah,
What?
and I'm glad you brought that up too, because I know the importance of being in with, people that are really doing it, but I also struggle with focus as well. So
Okay.
I'm like, man, it's like, should I be like, I'm trying to figure out where exactly I can be to maximize my time without, you know,
Sure.
that ADD brain going, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
No,
yeah,
I hear you. I mean, I don't really know what the right answer. Some days I just like being in a room with just one or two other guys, just that we've been doing this for a while, and we can unmute and chat for a little bit. But if a call comes in, we just go back on mute and can focus. But
yeah.
other
I
times
just
it's just
wanted
fun.
to add, I'm sorry.
Oh, go
Yeah,
ahead.
I just wanted to add real quick that although it can be, depending on the person, possibly a little distracting, but it's way better than being alone. You know what I mean?
Oh
Like
yeah,
being alone for too long will just take you out of the game ASAP, you know? And
yeah,
yeah, I just
yes,
wanted to state that.
yeah. So you're Roger Short. I'm sure you've seen some of his content with Life Insurance Academy. He's always famous for saying, success happens in community, failure happens in isolation, and have seen it time and time again. I
Yep.
think we had an episode about a month ago with a couple of the young guys, Jake and Sean, on here, and Jake has just blown up and been phenomenal to watch his journey grow. But Sean has disappeared, and I haven't been able to get in touch with him for I think over a month now. And um, I think what he ran into is he was working the cheap leads to learn and get ahead. Then he
Mhm.
upgraded his lead spend, and then within 3 weeks he was AWOL, and I hope he's okay. But what has been your strategy so far in terms of reaching out to folks or how to get them on the phone? Or what have you been doing for call and lead strategy?
Yeah, so I first started with the closer tech leads. I bought 250 $1 leads. I
Yeah,
went with that, which I had the best success with those than jumping up to the $2 to the $3. As far as I went was the $3
sure.
leads. I got a bunch of people on the phone. I was able to get one sale through the closer tech leads, and then after that, I haven't gotten anything. Um, the second batch of leads was from Age Lead Store, which I know each batch can be, you can't just say one lender is bad or worse than the other,
Yeah,
but there was tons of like, it just, I don't know. I didn't necessarily like those. No, nobody was answering. It was the wrong person or disconnected number, things like that.
mhm,
So basically, yeah, I've bought, I don't know, like six different batches or seven different batches of different leads in that $1 to $3 range. And pretty much at the point now where like everyone else, we want to just talk to people and get people on the phone.
yeah,
So yeah, I'm ready to make that jump. Um, well, not unbeknownst to me, but it was told, but I was spending, $250 a week. That was kind of in my budget, at least
yeah,
for like the first month or two, maybe.
yeah,
But for myself, I realized, I want to just go for it and kind of buy those higher intent leads. I haven't done that yet, but I'm right there. I'm
sure.
just getting things in order financially so I can be sustainable here and
Yeah,
do something like that and get more of like a subscription at a cheaper price and just lock in for a year and just do it like that. But yeah, it's not a fear, but my biggest thing that I want to get in order is just to get my financial situation in order and just so I can hang around. That's really it.
yeah. It's that's probably the hardest adjustment because when you look at what people are submitting for sales and what that actually looks like in your checking account, they are vastly different numbers. I don't know if Andrew's
Yeah.
ever talked to you about. I mean, everybody says you just got to be profitable, but profit in this business is not the same as cash flow because
Mhm.
25% of our commission doesn't come until months 10, 11, 12. So
Right.
you're kind of running on 75% as cash flow. And that's if you can get them at an 80% commission. So like it, it's a wild number. So I just did a little example before we started the call here. If you have a sale for $100 a month as a premium, your annual premium is $1,200. If your commission's at 80%, which by the way, if you're new, most of what you do is guaranteed issue, which is more like 50%. So if you can get 80% commission, now you're at 960. You get 75% of that advanced ahead of time. That's 720. So if you have 10 sales and you make $720 in cash flow, that's 7,200 bucks, which isn't terrible. But with 80% placement, because 20% just won't pay the first bill and they won't take the policy, now you're down to under 6,000 and then 20% charge back, you're at about 4,600 bucks. So to bring in essentially $12,000 in AP and only get $4,600 of that, people don't do that math regularly enough to understand that you have to operate on what you have in your bank account, not what your profit is. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Yes. Yeah, and I think that's been the thing I've been playing around with in my head is I don't want to make the wrong moves right now because there's not that much leeway. You know what I mean? So I'm
Yeah.
trying to really, but making no moves is the worst thing also, you know. So
Yeah.
I felt like I had good momentum and I'm going to get it back. I just had to take a step back, which I didn't want to,
Yeah.
because now I feel like, you know, the momentum is everything and
Yeah.
staying in the game. But all it does is take one day to get back in it, you know. So that's what I keep telling myself. You know, it's yeah, that's
Yeah.
kind of nice.
Absolutely. Consistency is so crucial to
Oh yeah.
being good in this. And not only for production, but also just in mental health or, wellness, just to make sure that if I'm staying busy and I'm talking to people, I know the needle's moving. And then when you start having that call reluctance, or you don't toggle on the inbound calls or whatever the case is, now you're just sitting there second guessing, right? Like, have you run
Yeah.
into that kind of call reluctance yet?
Yeah. So by taking my foot off the gas a little bit, I noticed the phone got way heavier for sure.
Yeah.
You know, it's really just the situation I'm in right now. You know, I really need to, or I've been doing aside from the last week, is getting on those late night calls. Well, not late night, but like 4 to 8, and just at
Okay.
least locking in on those rather than not picking up the phone at all because I'm trying to get my finances in order. Like you have to stay close to that phone because it really does get heavy. And I don't know why that happens. And maybe it's different for everybody. But for me, it's like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Feel like a bear's chasing you or something. That fight or flight kicks in. And it's like, I don't know. That's
It's
my
crazy.
experience.
All you gotta do is click the button, and it's the hardest
Yeah.
mouse click to make, right? Sometimes and everybody goes through it. You're not alone.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
it's everybody. So what else have you run into that's so finance is the big thing. You don't realize how
Yeah.
much money you're spending until you're like, holy shit, I spent $5,000 this month and I didn't make $5,000. Like,
Well, I feel like I keep talking about the finances, but I'm just trying to get myself where I can lock in on a 12-month protocol, you know, with
sure.
one of these vendors and just have something that I know that's there, that's coming in, that I can
Mhm.
just lock into, that I know I can pay for and pay for everything else as well.
Right.
But yeah, what were you saying on the other thing?
Well, I was just like in terms of like lead strategy and things like that, a lot of folks on our team have been switching to inbound calls. So
Hmm.
they're essentially the mindset becomes, yes, it's a more expensive lead. Some people are spending as much as 65 or $70 for an inbound call. But if let's say you buy four leads, or let's say I buy 20 leads for $20 a piece, you spent $400, you're only going to get half of them on the phone.
Hmm.
Statistically, there are 50% of the people that just will never pick up from an unknown number. Now you have 20 leads for $400. That's $40 a lead. If you get 20 of them on the phone, but you only get into conversations with 10 of them, well, now you're at what, 80 bucks a lead for 10 leads, or whatever. Maybe my math is off, but the cost
Yeah.
per lead goes way up, and you're still only getting X number of conversations. So they're going into it like, I'm going to pay for the conversation, and that's going to get me more quotes statistically, and that's just going to work out better. Plus, it protects their time because they can really get those conversations in a more condensed period of time.
I totally agree. Yeah. Again, you have you what?
Have you looked into doing that yet, or I mean,
Yeah, I'm right there. I am 100% right there. I'd rather spend the same amount of money, you know, getting 30 leads than rather 250 leads, saving my time. And really for myself, and everyone may be different, but you know, I've had that experience with the other company I was with, and that's where my burnout came from.
yeah,
I need to get people on the phone, even if, you know, it's the same math for me because it's actually better math as far as getting people on the phone, talking to higher intent inbound leads,
hmm
you know, to one, get the practice and get through the script and really get that tonality down and get my posture correct. Because right now it's just not for myself. And some people could buy a dollar leads and pull 16,000 out of it. I heard Clark did that. I'm like,
yeah,
I'd love to hear those phone calls, you know, but he's way more seasoned and experienced. And I'm sure you can get there.
hmm
But yeah, I'd rather spend the money because it's the same amount of money anyway. And I'm
Yeah.
getting just about the same people on the phone, but the people that I do get on the phone, which I've never tried with inbound from just from what I'm hearing, is their quality conversations, and that's the stuff that, you know, feeds me and keeps me going basically. So
Yeah.
I'm looking to hop into that as soon as possible. I was going to do something with Ashton. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to do that. But I was kind of waiting to see because I was going to spend some good money with that. But either way, I'm going to do that or buy those inbound more expensive leads like you guys have
Yeah.
been doing.
Are you tracking your own data as
Yes.
opposed to just entering it into the end of the day form with Caden?
Yes. You're
Okay.
talking about 20 seconds, 2 minutes,
Yeah.
all that? Yep.
Yeah.
Every day. Yep.
Okay.
That's what
Gotcha.
I use to put in the end of day report.
Okay. Yeah. It's always good to track your own because it's easy to make decisions and choose strategies and things like that when you have data to work on. Now,
Mhm.
speaking from experience, when you have one sale out of all the activity, you can't really extrapolate numbers from that can help you choose a strategy. But once you're
Right.
starting to get some things moving, it becomes very simple to make decisions. For example, yesterday I was looking at um, policy tech I'm with right now for inbound calls. They have kind of two. I don't like to use the buffers because I want to work every lead as if it's just to give it that importance instead of trying to spend the first 60 seconds disqualifying them. So I'll do 25 or $35 leads with those guys as an inbound call. It's a 10-second buffer for dead air, but the lead is mine as I own it, so it's mine to work. Um, but they raised their $35 calls to 40 and it changed the math for me. So I was doing some analysis based on how I've done with inbound calls
Mhm.
so far. And for me, it made more sense to choose the $25 calls from a profitability and cash flow perspective because I only have X number to spend. I couldn't spend enough to write my goal on $40 calls, but I could on $25 calls by just increasing my volume a little bit. Have you been able to take your data you're tracking and apply it to some of your decisions for what you're going to do? And maybe not from a sales perspective, but maybe from a presentations perspective or conversation to quote perspective.
Not really, because I am. There was a few conversations that I got into like the 8, 9 minute mark,
Mm-hmm.
but it's really just staying in that 20 seconds to 2 minute mark. So that's the only metrics that I have with
Sure.
that. But I like what you said about where you're at, how you were able to go back and, as far as the amount of money that you were spending from 40, it didn't make sense, and go back to the 25. So yeah, I'm just continuing to do those metrics. So when I get to a place where you're at, then I can really use it because as of right now, I don't have a lot to compare it to. I think,
Yeah.
all I know is that for myself, and I'm sure everyone else, I just want to get through that script as much as possible. I don't
Sure.
even care if they buy or not at this point, but I just want to use my speed and learning how to just navigate through it flawlessly and really get my posture right on those calls
Yeah.
because I'm just dying for some you know not even action. I'm just dying just to have some rapport with someone on the phone and
Yeah.
build that connection. That's my favorite part about sales is just transferring that energy and really connecting with somebody and almost like not wanting to get off the phone, because you're not going to see them again most likely, and it's like
Yeah.
you hang up, I hang up thing when you were younger. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So what do you think has kind of been the biggest struggle or obstacle for you getting started and getting those conversations and presentations?
Yeah. So trying to get as many reps in as possible. I understand that, and I think that's what it's been. It's just I haven't had the chance to really talk to people, and it has to do with me with my skill set right now because it's obviously very low. I just started, but I just haven't had many conversations, man. That's really that black and white and simple.
Yeah.
You know, it's but it's been very helpful with working through those 20 seconds with all the objections and like really learning how to deal with that part has been great
Yeah.
because that's the most difficult part, in my opinion. Once you get past that and you got a little rapport going, then you can keep the ball rolling. So as far as that with the age leads, fantastic, great. you know.
Yeah.
But now, you know, from being at that other company for a few months, you know, really being out of work, honestly, for like the whole damn year,
Yeah.
with doing side jobs and things like that with all of what was going on health wise. I don't really have that much time to sit in the pocket and get, you know what I mean, and do it that way. It's like,
Right.
okay, let's put your big boy pants on and like, let's go. But like, let's not go in a way where you burn yourself out financially either,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been doing a lot of praying and a lot of, you know, figuring out what the next move is. But yeah, things are getting in order and just trying to stay patient, but at the same time, like, keep the ball moving also.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, when I switched, so in my first 160 days, I think I gave 168 presentations, and they want us doing 3 to 4 or 5 presentations a day to meet, one app a day or whatever, just because that's statistically how it works out. And you see
Yeah.
some of these people get on the phone and they give 8, 9 presentations a day to write 5 applications, and they're just doing outbound phone calls. And that's a skill set that I started with high intent leads, and I couldn't get those converted. So I had to go to age leads, the dollar leads, whatever. And I got more conversations, but I just struggled to get past the 2 minutes to get into a meaningful conversation. A lot
Mhm.
of it was because I talked fast, I mumbled, I didn't know the script, I was just all over the board, and I sounded like a flash in the pan salesperson that nobody wants to talk to. Um, going to inbounds has taken that out of the equation, so I don't really have to worry about really any front end objections other than, well, I thought it was free. Yeah, it's not free. There's a monthly payment. It is regulated by the state, but there's a monthly payment for these plans, and they're meant to be affordable. That's why they're regulated. So for you, were you looking to cover final expense or leave somebody behind as well? It
Mhm.
it's been very helpful. And I think in the month since I stopped doing outbounds, I think I've done 40 40 presentations. So
Wow.
it just changes the game entirely. Um,
Yeah.
actually, yeah, 49 presentations. So now it's statistically I'm going to sell more because I'm talking to more people in the right conversation and context, as opposed to fighting for them to just talk to me. And
Yeah,
it
yeah,
doesn't
yeah.
ruin my nervous system. Um, is that what you're looking to get into, or are you looking at maybe a more high intent
Yeah, the
outbound lead?
nervous system's crazy. Let's talk about that for a second, because
Yeah.
man, dude, I don't like blaming it on the sale, but we all deal with it. But and this may be too personal, but anyway, I like getting vulnerable, but these I have to take like a ton of medications. They're anti-rejection medications,
Okay.
and they like give me tremors, like fight or flight, like crazy. Um, you know, it's been something to really work on and get better with, and I have gotten better with it. But getting like dealing with those dollar leads really gets your blood pressure going. You know what I
Oh
mean? Or
yeah.
it gets your anxiety all, to an all-time high. But I don't know, something about being in the mud, I think, doing that for a while and then hopping over to something like you've done, it's just like you just like walk into the gates of heaven and you're like, you're
Yeah.
just so happy to have like a real conversation with somebody. So from that aspect, I think it's smart because if you can handle it down in the dirt, then like, you know what I mean? And then you could just build off your confidence with those conversations you're having with the inbound and things like that. So that's what I'm looking forward to. And I'm happy to hear you say that because, I haven't been around long, but I've definitely seen your growth and what you're putting up and doing and stuff. And people like Michael too, and other people, can't think of their names right now, but yeah, it's cool. It's encouraging. That's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah. I was getting to the point with the age leads where I would dial and somebody would pick up the phone, and they would yell at me, scream at me, hang up on me, whatever. And I would physically shake because it was just like, what what the fuck just happened? Like, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
why are people like this? And my mom is in the same age group as the people we serve, mostly with final expense. And I was having lunch with her one day. I said, your generation's the worst. You're the rudest, meanest people. You don't care. She's like, no, we're not. We're super nice. And I said, so when somebody calls you after you fill out an ad on Facebook, well, how do you treat them? Oh, I kind of yell at them and I hang up on them. I'm like, yeah, I know you do because I've seen it 1,000 times, and it rattles you to the core. And like, is this where I'm supposed to be? But now since changing over and doing inbounds and stuff, now I have our conversations. I feel so much more relaxed, and I don't really have the fight or flight. And so when somebody gives me a little bit of resistance, I can actually just talk to it and address it and
Mhm.
move through it. It's not because I know the script better; it's because I'm not freaking out over every little piece of a little bump in the road.
Right.
Right?
That's good to know.
It's crazy. Um,
Yeah.
are you using the new script that Dana and Caden created to as a kind of combo or
Yeah. Yeah. It took me a few days to move off of it, but then I'm just like, no, this thing's like way too good, even though I was like more comfortable with the other one.
yeah
The new one is just so solid, man. It's
yeah
really, but I'm waiting patiently to be able to use it really, to be honest with you, to
yeah
get through it. And
yeah? I find myself having to just create a shell of the script for how it's supposed to work because I get caught reading the script when I have it in front of me.
mhm,
So then I sound more robotic and I have less inflection and
mhm.
I struggle with that anyway. So I have to just really focus on having a conversation, but not missing any of the pieces. And I know that
Yes.
doing it that way, I'm still missing pieces because I'm not getting every talk track. But do you have it up in front of you and are you kind of reading it line by
Yeah,
line
no,
or?
that I'm glad you brought that up too, because yeah, I haven't had a lot of conversations, but I've been very more mindful of, all right, dude, just like talk to them like a human being and then just go back and use that when in the areas that you need to use it. Like don't, rather than 90% script, 10% real conversation, I kind of flipped it. And mentally that's helped me take the pressure off too, because it's like, yeah, I can't, no one can really actively listen the way they need to by doing it that way,
Yeah.
and all that anxiety comes from like reading the script, like, and don't get me wrong, like we're focusing too much on it rather than just having a real conversation with someone and then
Yeah.
using all the key points or use, you know what I mean? Like, does
Yeah.
that make sense?
Yeah. And when it doesn't go well, you start to blame the script or you start to whatever. But the biggest takeaway is that when it doesn't go well and it shakes your neighbor's nervous system or you have a mini failure, it carries into the next call. So now you're not showing up as the expert insurance agent. You're showing
Yeah.
up as the desperate, needy commission breath salesperson who's just trying to get through a script. Just let me read the
Yes.
script to you. It's
Yeah. Yeah.
changes your whole way of being when you're calling. I don't know how to explain it, but I've
Yeah. Yeah, no,
done a
I
lot of
agree
work
with
with
you
people like that.
100%. Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah,
But you just talking to you now really is it's exciting to, start looking into these inbound deals and just kind of getting the ball rolling in that aspect.
yeah,
I'm ready to go, man. Ready to do it.
yeah. Right on. What other? So you're on Caden's team on Sniper, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure. And I know you reached out a couple of times with different things, but um, are you part of his school group as well?
Yes. And that's
Okay.
another thing. I'm really trying to in my Google Calendar, I put like every meeting in there, which is crazy. But aside from the school one, so I need to figure out. I'm still figuring out. Like I talked to Caden about it, and he's like, just go to the ones that are important to you, and because otherwise, well, not that are important to you, but you like go to the ones that you know what I mean. Don't go to all of them, which I'm kind of trying to do, which I'm all scatterbrain all over the place with it. So really, just trying to hone in on something that I can get to week in and week out and be consistent with, like you talked about. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's all about that consistency.
but they're also good.
Yeah, the
There's
school
such,
ones. Yeah,
he has such rock stars on his school group with Clark Stanley and Ashton Delaney Lunday, Dana Neeson, Caden himself. It's
yeah,
it's amazing. And then you come to the ones we have just for being part of Empower Life Group and what Caden does in call reviews. There's you can overload on training, but I think it's important to try to find a cadence in a schedule that you can just choose the ones you
mhm.
like to. Because what I end up doing is I'll go to like all of them for a week or two, and then I go to none of them for a week or two, and I don't know if that's really the best approach either. Because I I get in this, I'm all in like you, and I think a lot of salespeople are. They want to go all in on what they're doing, and so they feel
Yeah,
like they have to learn it all, and then they didn't
yeah,
do any of it, so it didn't really matter. Then you got
yeah,
to do it all, and then you kind of forget some things you might be missing. So it's just to it's a shiny object thing, right? There's so many
Yeah.
options. Have
Yes.
you kind of picked a couple of favorites that you might recommend to people?
Yeah, so I've been getting on with Ashton has a call, what is it, on Mondays, I want to say.
Hmm.
I've been going to that with him. And I honestly I haven't really necessarily picked like a favorite or anything. Like when I tell you I'm completely scatterbrained with the Zooms, I'm being honest with you. I'm just kind of all over the place. It's not the place to be, and I'm aware of that. And it's something that's I'm a big like I love maximizing my day and
Yeah.
like getting the most out of it and figuring out what works best for me. And I just haven't quite got there yet. So to answer your question, not necessarily a favorite one. They're
Yeah.
all great. They're all, and they could be on a topic that makes sense to you and something that you need to hear in that moment, which that's my shiny object syndrome. I was like, oh, I need to know that, you know what I mean? And then I'll get off my calls and then, my activity for the day is it's just got to be consistent. Whatever you do, it
Yeah.
just has to be consistent. And that's
Yeah.
it. That's the main word. Yeah.
Seems like the crux with training is you go to them and you hear a golden nugget that, oh, I'm going to use that in my script, and you go to another training, it's like, oh, that's really good, I'm going to use that in my script, and pretty soon your script is about 50% of what it started off as, which was
Yeah.
built intentionally for selling life insurance in a structured, repeatable manner. And
Yeah.
now we're trying to create our own little animal. And yeah, they're
Yes.
good talk tracks, but have you run into that at all, where you're starting to veer off script because you heard something else you really
Yeah. It's
like?
funny you said that because I was doing something similar to that. And then I kind of stopped myself in my tracks. I'm like, dude, this thing is not probably, it's been put together in the most perfect way possible.
Yeah,
And here I come a couple months in the game and I think I figured something out. But um, no, yeah, no, I love the new script, the new Final Expense script. It's awesome.
yeah. It's funny though when you listen to different people deliver it. If you listen to Caden deliver it versus Michael versus Dana versus Sydney, they all have different approaches, and some of them sound just like you. Some of them sound really animated, and they're really talking and they're moving around. Like Ashton's really animated, and he's doing burpees
Right.
while he's delivering it. And Caden's like, Captain Cool, just sitting there on the slow, low DJ
Yeah.
voice, just kind of having fun. And Dana's just like poised, repeatable, professional. But it's amazing how all those different styles can use the same script and still win with it.
Yeah.
And it's
Good
just a
point.
matter of having the confidence to execute and ask the questions that the script asked you to ask at the time. Have you run into that where you're in discovery or trying to uncover some pain, and the next question is, well, why is that important to you? Or what happens to your daughter if you don't put something in place? What does that look like? Do you ever get to those points in the script and struggle with actually having the courage to ask those questions?
So I haven't had a lot of opportunity to get there. I
Okay.
literally have I've gone through that with two people. One of the people we got through the application and got their policy put in place. But I haven't with the few people that I have done that with, I'm so happy to get there. And I'm a very empathetic person. So
Yeah.
like I like being there. I like talking about uncomfortable situations or I have no problem with the any part of that. Like that's where I'm dying to get to. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Okay.
Yeah, I'm uncomfortable with the opener and just like uh, building that rapport in the
Yeah.
beginning enough to get to the discovery and the consequence questions. I heard like Dana said that people have a hard time doing that. I don't
Yeah.
mind doing that. I like getting vulnerable. That's like my thing.
Okay. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I would agree. Even though I don't mind being vulnerable, that's me. I have a hard time asking other people to be vulnerable too because I know it's difficult.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, and that I wish I could get on here and just like fix the first 2 minutes of your phone call, but I could never figure it out. So that is a skill in and of itself, and um,
Yeah.
that I think that's what weeds a lot of people out of this industry is because they can't get to that extra conversation. I feel like
Mhm.
now if I went back to a higher intent lead, having a little more confidence now than I did before, I probably would be a little bit better. Those ladies
Mhm.
leads, man, no, they'll just shake you. You just have to get used to the fact that they're not going to want to talk to you unless you find that diamond in the rough, which is kind of how I started looking at it. But yeah,
Right.
it's the
But
challenge.
it really is such great practice, it
Yeah.
really, if you can like figure that out and work through that, that's as difficult as it gets. So it's just going to get easier from there, in my opinion.
Yeah. That's a great place to start. And everybody who's done them is thankful that they did them because
Yeah.
they're better as a result. They can have conversations. They can sit in the pocket, whatever.
Yeah.
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 Um,
Yeah. That's what some people told me. You got to go through the suck as part of the deal. Right.
yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Now, have you looked at any kind of personal coaching or identity development type things that help you with just who you are and who you're showing up as on the calls, as not necessarily the script, not necessarily the leads, but just like who's Eric when he sits on the chair and dials the phone? Who is he that day? Because some days you're probably a complete rock star, and some days you're probably like, you should probably just leave the business. But have
Yeah.
you ever done anything to
Personal
kind of,
development.
yeah, hone in on that?
Yeah. I've been in personal development probably for the past 8 years,
Okay.
honestly. Um, it's a long story short, but I've been in recovery for 8 years. I moved out to Texas to get sober.
Okay.
Um, got sober in February 24th, 2018. And ever since then, I've just been diving into personal development. I
Yeah.
was a fraction who I am today. And, God's given me everything in my life today. And because of that, I'm constantly involved in like different groups and all types of accountability and all of that. I'm like fully immersed in that for the last 8 years.
Awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's amazing. Congratulations. That's fantastic. And I think there's a lot of people
Yeah.
who struggle with that, and it creeps into areas of their life they don't want it to, but it just
Yeah.
in professional, whether they start the day a little bit later or show up a little bit grumpier because their mind's not clear. It's the whole range of
Yeah. So there's a non-negotiable for me that I've been doing in the last 8 years, and it has to do with writing, praying, reading, um, just putting your feet in the grass, the whole thing.
yeah,
And that's how yeah, because like the second we wake up, the thoughts are crazy in today's day and age, and
yeah,
we got to protect that. And I'm very, very big on that because yeah, you can get thrown off pretty easy these days.
yeah. No, I it's this business will test you and it'll expose you and it'll bring out the best of you and the worst in you and it'll tell you
Hmm.
who you really are. Um,
Yeah.
you just have to be willing to stay around long enough to find it, right?
Hmm.
I mean, so how long have you been with Sniper, and then how long were you with your previous IMO?
Previous IMO was just a few months. I want to say 3 months.
Okay,
And then I'm pretty much brand new with Sniper. I've been here for a few months as well.
okay,
Yeah.
okay, got it. So yeah, I mean, if there was anything you would offer a new agent, so I know some doesn't seem like it, and that's really kind of a selfish reason I wanted to have you on too, is because I've been an agent for coming up on 2 years, but I've been with Sniper and Empower since November.
Uh-huh.
So less time. And I would say when I was a captive agent or a multi-line agent with my own agency and whatever, I wasn't actually selling. I was just trying to leverage my network. Here is actually selling and trying to be a professional problem solver in this regard. But I wanted to have you on selfishly because sometimes I think you tend to learn and understand things better when you're teaching them. And this isn't necessarily a teaching thing, but Dana has said it a few times, like you're not posting content, for example, on social media for the industry because there's a lot of people who are better than you. You're posting it to the people who are coming behind you. And I
Mhm.
thought, if there's anything I can offer, because as I start having conversations with people, I'm starting to realize I do have more knowledge than I thought I did. So for you, what would you offer for advice for a brand new day one agent who's coming
I'd
behind you?
say for myself, I know the importance and strength in numbers, and what I would suggest is reach out to the family, man. I mean, like build a community within the community and lock arms.
Yeah.
Because I'll let myself down before I let someone else down type of a situation.
Mhm.
And by having that accountability and people that you could build connections with, because everyone has a story. A lot of people have families and things, strong whys and why they're doing it. And we're not just, it's not just a person. So getting to know that builds your own strength, if that makes sense. It's if you can do it. At least that's how I feel. I'm very, like I said, empathetic, and I can like see someone's story and be like, I'm going to fight extra hard today for, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
seeing someone else struggling, and that feeling too of like seeing people, go through the mud, go through the dirt, and come out the other side, and doing that together as a team. There's really
Yeah.
no better feeling. You know what I mean? There's no better feeling. It's great winning, but winning with the people you love is something else. It's something
Yeah.
special.
That's great advice. I've locked arms with a few people here, and yeah, some days I'm like, dude, I'm not up for the unhinged room. Let's just go in the quiet room, and for the most part, it's still just a quiet dial room, but we chat between calls, and it's so helpful to have that kind of partner in crime or brother in arms
Yes.
or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, absolutely. That to me is the core. As a new agent, I private messaged a lot of people, including yourself, people that I saw that were just really like, I can see it. Like you guys had the fire in your eyes. You were just, and in all the meetings and just questions and this and that. And that was encouraging to see. And, you know, I think I heard Caden and others say it, to make this work, find someone that's doing it way better than you are and just copy and paste what they're doing.
Yeah, I mean, there's no shortage of superstars in our team and in the industry. Even if you find somebody on social media and start following them and kind of linking up, but it's amazing to see and be amongst high performers because you almost can't help performing at a higher level because of it. Because you're
Exactly. Yeah.
seeing what they're doing, you're hearing what they're saying,
Yeah.
you're kind of living it with them. And to be fair, everybody, maybe not everybody, but everybody who comes in this industry struggles or has their own struggle. I heard a guy a month and a half ago or so on his podcast. He said, I struggled for the first 3, 4 months I was in the business. And when he asked what he wrote 15,000, 24,000, and 32,000 in his first 3 months. I'm like, dude, you haven't struggled much yet.
How dare
But
you?
everything's relative, right? I mean, I've never hit my top month. It was like 12,500. So like I've never hit those numbers. And I would say I was struggling. I'm still struggling, but I can still see the light and I can still see the burn. And my favorite
Yeah.
quote, like I've said on every podcast since he was on, his priors tell me, he's like, this isn't get rich quick. It's get rich for sure. You just have to stay long enough for that to happen. And
Mm.
I just keep
I
leaning
like
on
that.
that. And, you know, everybody goes through it. But yeah, lock arms. I love that. That's awesome
Yeah.
advice.
Yeah.
Um, do you ever want to build a team or are you just kind of focusing on producing at this point and team hasn't really come across your mind yet?
I would love to. It's just one foot in front of the other right now. I don't
Yeah.
want to bite off more than I can chew. I'm just trying to stay in the game, brother. Like that's it. It's
Yeah.
just like you said, it's just this is a marathon, and but in that marathon, I'm trying to just make it sustainable financially. That's like my main goal.
Yeah.
Whatever keeps my foot in the door. I would love to just drop everything and just go all the way in, but it's just not in the cards for me. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, man, that's kind of how where I'm at with that.
Are you still doing some other side job type things or just other kind
Yeah,
of,
yeah,
okay.
I'm doing
Yeah.
way too much. But yeah, any I have some weird side jobs that I've been doing. But just recently, I found a company that would allow me to work from home. It's just like kind of like a part-time deal.
Okay.
When not really, but they give you like a salary. I could work from home, very, very, very flexible, which would allow me to do this part-time until I can, move forward past that.
Yeah.
Which I believe that alone is going to just at least keep me here, keep me in the game, and I could lock in on that part-time spot for now
Yeah.
until I can, because it's the pressure, you know what I mean? It's the
Yeah.
pressure, and we're human, and
Hmm.
I know myself from past experiences. Pressure, it's yeah. I just trying to set myself up, man. That's all. And I
Yeah.
keep repeating myself with it, but it's a little frustrating to me because I didn't want to go this route, but that's kind of life. Life takes you places,
Sure.
where so I'm just trying to adapt to my situation and not look at it as a loss, but more of like, all right, I got to take a step back to take 3 steps forward.
Yeah. Yeah. I've talked to like three other people in the last week and a half who are doing the same thing. They're taking out a part-time job. They're doing a different offer. They're trying to do other things to make themselves more financially stable so that
Yeah,
they can keep doing this.
yeah, because the pressure is just for myself.
Yeah.
The mortgage, this, that, like everyone else has. The amount of pressure that when you do get someone on the phone and they are interested, it's like it's hard to control that emotion because you're like you feel like your life depends upon it. You know what I
It
mean?
does.
Literally.
Yeah.
It's like as a man, one of my biggest things I struggle with is providing for my family and that immense pressure that I put on myself as a father and a husband
Hmm.
to provide. And when that's not there, I could be hard on myself. So
Yeah.
by adding all that extra pressure, if I could alleviate that and it take me double the amount of time to get to where I want to, but I could be in the game.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I'm looking at the situation.
Yeah. It's crazy how that kind of pressure, and then you start to put the pressure on yourself and you start to show up that way.
Yeah.
But it's just the opposite. The exact opposite is what actually helps you win. Like I don't know anything about horses, but I know to train a horse, you have to realize that you can't force the horse to do anything, but
Mhm.
you can connect with the horse and then guide the horse and do it together. And that's going to be a lot better thing. So when you try to, you ever try to chase a stray cat? They're not coming to you. You
Yeah.
have to put out the food and get the cat to come to you. So you have to be that,
That's a good point.
it's the most ironic thing because the harder you try in this business, the worse it seems to get. I don't know why,
Yes.
but like
Yes.
I've spent 14 hours in the seat, right, doing 1,200 dials in a day and getting absolutely crushed in my mind, spirit, body, and
Hmm.
my stats. And it's brutal.
Yeah.
And
That's what makes that 8% so special though. Because when you get
yeah,
in there, it's just like you have to be a warrior,
yeah,
be full of grit to get through it. But man, what a great feeling to get
yeah.
there.
I'm just trying to get to that month 10 mark where some of the back end commissions start trailing in. And
Yeah.
it doesn't take the pressure off, but it does help alleviate it a little bit. So at least I'm hoping it does. So
Yeah, no, it sounds like you're doing great, man. I mean, your best month was 12,000. And you've just been in the game for a little bit. So that's great, man. That's encouraging to hear from a new agent like myself. That's
yeah, it's definitely doable. And there's no shortage of examples. I just proximity is king. And
Can I ask you a quick question?
of course.
With the other IMO that I was in, they were really big on like referrals
Mhm.
because there would be people that would get like 5 leads and then turn those leads into tons of referrals. So like master the referral game.
Yeah.
And I feel like is that something that you do, or like when you get someone on the phone, are you really like capitalizing and trying to see where else or someone might be in the market or in the need for some life insurance?
No, and I haven't even put any effort into it. I've asked a couple of times who else. Um, it's just I haven't had enough. I feel like that's, and I know this is a dumb analogy, but I feel like that's like a next level thing. Like I have to master the level I'm at, which is getting the
Sure.
sale, appreciating the sale and whatever before I ask them for more. You know what I mean?
True, 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 true,
And I
true.
know
Yeah, yeah.
that's maybe that comes with time. So I'm not good at that, but I mean, the people who do really well with it are they're writing 2, 3 deals a month doing it, which is, I mean, another $3,000 really. And
Yeah.
I mean, the formula is pretty simple though. You might ask for 10 referrals or 50 referrals. 40 of them might give you no referrals. Five might give you one referral. Four might give you two referrals, and one might give you 50 referrals.
Hmm.
So, it's kind of just a thing that you just have to start doing it and keep doing it consistently. I feel
Yeah.
like my deals though, they just never seem to wrap up cleanly. Like we can get the app submitted on one call, but there's always going to be another call because it's not my underwriting's not crisp and clean yet, where there's maybe a denial or other questions, or I have to pivot. It hasn't been a clean process for me yet to
Yeah.
get a sale and then go that route. I've even asked for referrals with people I didn't sell, but
Okay. Yeah, no,
it,
I'm just curious.
yeah,
I'm
you
sorry, my
can't beat a
dog
free
is
lead.
like snorting, making so much noise. All right.
Oh, I can't even hear your dog. I heard my dog barking, but that's the
Okay,
joys of
good.
working from home, right? So,
Yes.
well, is there anything else that was on your mind, Eric, or that you would love to see a breakthrough in? Or, I mean, I might
I
not be the
guess
one
I
to help you,
could.
but maybe I have.
No, this was great, Corey. I appreciate you even reaching out to me. I know there's tons of people you could put on here, and I've been kind of in my head a little bit, if I'm going to be honest with you, just because of the momentum change, just from having to do what I had to do. I'm
Mhm.
not like in a bad place whatsoever, but I just like to keep the momentum going. But anyway,
Yeah.
my question, I guess, to you is, as far as free leads go in your warm market, because I've been in different companies, like some MLNs and things like that, and which was like easy to like get the products to people that I know and people that they know and things like that. I
Mhm.
am struggling with my warm market. Like I'm bringing a lot of people to the door and kind of going over things with them, quotes and stuff.
Mhm.
But just I don't know. I don't know the correct verbiage on like how to talk to my people about life insurance. It's just weird. It's like I know their father and I'm like, yeah, when your dad died, you know what I mean? It's like,
Mhm.
and I think it's coming across as kind of passive because I'm trying to be like, I feel comfortable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, man, if I could just like that would help me not have to even worry about a second job if I can keep the ball rolling with that. And I feel like in my head, when I found out I had all these products to sell, I'm like, oh, I wrote a huge list, two-page list of everyone I know and everyone that they know,
Yeah.
uh, that front and back. And as I'm going through it, I'm just like I was like, man, Anyway, my question to you would be like, have you touched your warm market or is it uncomfortable for you?
Very
And
uncomfortable for me. I touched them when I was a multi-line agent. I was doing home and auto and ag and commercial and investments and all the things. And I went through a lot of my warm market doing that because that's how you start in those industry in those places. And I always felt kind of greasy. Like,
yeah,
and what's sad about it is I believe in the product. I believe that life insurance. I believe everybody needs life insurance for one reason or another, whether it be for max funding retirement or make sure their loved ones don't have to pay for their funeral because they have a life insurance policy, or to leave your kids better off than you were. I mean, I believe everybody needs it,
yeah,
and um, but I don't want to I don't want to work my warm market. Um,
mhm,
I when I would approach them for like home and auto, that's easy. If I can save you money, great. If not, no worries. But when it came to life insurance with people who weren't asking for it, it was it was just always a hard conversation for me to have and get into the emotions because we're bros, we're buddies. We play hockey together. We're not talking about, what happens when we don't play hockey together because you passed away and your family's screwed. Like, you know what I mean? So
yeah,
it's a conversation, but so that's the dichotomy. When I was before I came into this, I was kind of on the fence about life insurance and on the need for it and whatever. So that my belief in it wasn't as strong as it is now. Maybe I should go back through and start talking to my warm market and like, just, hey, have you looked at all the things that life insurance can do for you? It can help with retirement. It can help with living benefits if you have family history of, heart attacks, strokes, cancers. They can help with that. It can just help with a small funeral. It can help with paying your mortgage off. There's so many different reasons to have it.
yeah,
And I have a much higher belief now. So maybe I should go back through it. But I
yeah.
choose not to because I don't want to be seen as that insurance salesman because
Right.
my people stopped picking up my phone calls after I started calling them about home and auto. So I just like,
Yeah.
I want to just kind of keep it
Yeah.
separate. And maybe they just need to work into the conversation a little bit differently. Maybe
Mhm.
just talk about some cool cases I've worked on that, you know, we set up this person for retirement. They're putting in like $800 a month and they're going to end up with like a $75,000 a year tax free when they retire. I mean, that's a cool story.
Yeah,
That's what
yeah,
I
yeah.
look for. But you know, yeah, I haven't. I don't know what the right. Yeah, I guess I'm not sure what the right answer to get into that would be.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if I was necessarily looking for an answer, but it's just, but that makes sense because when you're unconfident about, the new products that you're selling and things like that, bringing that to the people that but it's important to do it in the beginning, I think, because it can like take that pressure off of you financially.
Yeah,
But I understand what you're saying, kind of revisiting that once you're been in the game long enough to where you can share it confidently.
yeah. I had
But
a
yeah, I'm with you on that.
I had a mentor in my last agency. He was like, I've never had a friend tell me no when I asked if I could just practice my new skill, my new trade
Mhm.
with them and on them. Can I come and sit with you and just go through my spiel? It just helps me get better at understanding and selling life insurance for every different situation. And even if it doesn't work for you, will you just help me practice and be better at it? Yeah, sure. Okay. Well, now you can have a conversation with that person and start to transfer your belief in the product. And maybe that's how you do get some of those more market
Yeah,
sales.
yeah. Michael was telling me about that, and I did do that with a couple people, but it just
Yeah.
never came to fruition. But yeah, okay,
Yeah. And you
cool.
hate to follow up with them because you're like, yeah, you just don't want to, you don't want to do that. But I have another good friend of mine who done a lot of training, Jack Jameson. He used to be a farmer's
Mhm.
agent. He was their top life insurance guy. He's done a lot of other training and stuff. But um, he thinks it's his approach is I'm basically showing you I don't love you or care for you if I don't talk about life insurance with you because it is that important that your family is going to be screwed if I don't at least make sure you know your options to take care of them when you pass
Very
away.
true. Yeah, when you put
And
it like that, it doesn't. Yeah, there's ways to come across with it where you don't feel like a sleazy, whatever. I don't know.
yeah, yeah,
Just trying to
and
make a dollar, but really caring. Yeah, I think of my best friend Joe. He lives in a really expensive house. Wife doesn't work, has three kids. Perfect
yeah,
example. And I'd mentioned that to him.
yeah,
But yeah, yeah,
yeah. If he dies, the house forecloses in 90 days if she can't make the payment. At least
exactly.
cover a year's worth of payments so she can sell the house for what it's worth and make decisions that can benefit her family. You know, but
Sure.
it's all mindset. Everything
Yeah,
in this business is all mindset and how you show up. And yeah, if you show up with the belief that you're going to help the person, then you probably will. So
yeah.
I don't know. It's been a great conversation, Eric, and I think it's going to help people because honestly, this isn't an easy business. It's simple, but it's not easy. And
Mhm.
some people just need to take a step back and realize that it's if it was easy, everyone would do it. And there's you just have to stay in it. So
Yeah.
um, yeah. One last
I,
question
I,
for you, sir.
I,
Sorry, go ahead.
yeah, I just wanted to say one last thing,
Mhm.
and I haven't tried been with tons of companies, but from what I've seen here so far, I can't really imagine any other IMO being as good as it is here. So, like,
Yeah,
you have the best shot here than I couldn't say for anywhere else because I don't know everywhere else, but I can't imagine there's just so much here to grab from and learn from. And
yeah,
the people that are here from what I've seen, are really quality people. I have pretty good discernment on people and who they are. And it just feels very loving here and very caring. And that goes a long way when you're in the mud and trying to get through the difficult times of the beginnings here.
yeah, yeah. There's definitely a different culture here than you see in a lot of places, like through social media
Yes.
and stuff.
Yeah.
Bro culture, I guess I would call it. But
Yeah. Yeah.
no, I would agree. And if you do just a Google search for top insurance trainers or top sales trainers, the people in those search results are on our team. So it's a great place to be.
Exactly. Yep. Absolutely.
So awesome. Well, one last question for you, Eric. If people want to work with you or buy a policy from you, how can they find you?
That's a good question. I mean, as far as like my like Instagram tag and stuff like
Social
that.
media, email. I mean, do you if
Yeah.
anybody? So there's probably 12 people that watch our show. So if anybody that wants to reach out to you,
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
maybe
I'm
more.
not that big on social media, but I guess I'm like old school. You know, you can write me a letter and send it to my house. No, but you can find me I am Andersen at gmail.com, and that's
Okay.
Andersen SEN. Yeah, I guess I with that question, that's something I need to look into because apparently I'm living in the Stone Ages over here.
You know, I started. I was in a leadership meeting with Dana back in like February, and not being part of the leadership team yet, but knowing I wanted to build at some point, I was just kind of wanting to see what the discussions were and things like that. And she was doing some recruiting funnels and helping her leaders at the time build teams. And she asked, like, we're spending money on ads to do this, but what are you doing yourself
Mm.
to bring traffic? And so I started posting on Instagram and stuff like that. And I did some kind of sketchy, not sketchy, cringy stuff to start. My kids gave me so much shit because I was using different voices and Snapchat filters and whatever to make these videos. And it was awful, but it was fun. And
Yeah,
um, it just, kind of grew that awareness that more people know I do this, and nobody's really reached out yet, but my family and friends on Facebook know I sell life insurance. So I guess that's kind of as far as I wanted to take warm market. If they know I sell it, they should reach out to me. And I've had a couple of people do that, but no sales yet. So I
yeah.
think there's something that definitely there for posting on social and doing that. So
I just wrote down what you said too. I'm glad you said that because I had such vision, like blinders on that I didn't realize. Yeah, that's huge today. You know, it's we can hit the masses that way a lot faster.
yeah. And just like what Dana said too, if you're not posting content necessarily for yourself, you're posting it for the people who are coming behind you that you can
Mhm.
begin to lead, even if they're not joined your team yet. She was posting for 5 years on YouTube, and people were still commenting on old videos 5 years later and then joining her team. So, I mean,
Wow.
it's and sometimes a long play, sometimes a short play, but I mean, it can't hurt, right?
Yeah. Yeah, no,
So,
I love it. And I love what you do too with this, Corey. It's awesome. I've watched a lot of your podcasts and stuff. I always found it very, you had a bunch of people, and I learned a lot from the people that you had on, just so you know. So what you are doing, we're doing this for new people. Like it was good for me, and I'm still considered new, obviously, but
yeah,
I got a lot from the people that you had on and the stories that they shared. So I just want you to know.
yeah, it's awesome to be able to learn from all these people that have come on, and some of the guests you think maybe you won't get much out of turn out to be the ones you get most out of. So it's kind of fun, a lot of fun.
For sure. For
So
sure.
awesome. Well, it was a great episode. I appreciate you coming on the show, Eric, and I wish you all the success. I'm always here to help. If you ever want to just bounce ideas off, vent, whatever, let me know. But
Gotcha,
um,
man.
we'll wrap it up, man. Thanks for listening to the Dialing for Dollars podcast. If you enjoyed the show, share it with another agent, like and subscribe, and start taking inbound calls so you're not dialing leads at 8 p.m. Have a good one.
Thank you, Corey.